Did you know you could automatically create deals in HubSpot? My favorite use case for this is creating deals when a meeting gets booked. I'm going to show you how to set this up and more in today's HubSpot hack. First things first, it's worth mentioning that you do need professional or enterprise level hubs in HubSpot to have access to workflows and to set up automations like this. So if you do, keep on watching. If you don't, you can set up some time to talk with us down in the description. We'll have a link to our site. But let's log into HubSpot and get started. Taking a look at my sample deal pipeline that I have here, you'll see my first deal stage is a consultation being scheduled. So the automation that we're going to set up is when a consultation meeting gets scheduled, we want to automatically create a deal. Before we dive into that, I'm just going to spend a little bit of time talking about meeting types. So if you go into your settings, up here, click the gear icon at the top right, and on the left, scroll all the way down to tools and meetings. You'll see that you have a call and meeting types option that you'll probably want to make sure is on. You can edit the options and add call types. You can see that we have a specific type of call for consultations. This is what we're going to use in our automations today. A couple different places that this will show up is if we go to sales and then our meeting scheduler. If you pop into any one of these meeting links, when you send this out for people to book with, you can choose the meeting type. So when they book, it'll automatically set things as consultations. Or if we go into a contact record, so just go into any contact record here. And if we're booking meetings this way, you can create a meeting. You can create a meeting. You can choose the meeting type here as well to be a consultation. Now that you've got a little background on call and meeting types, let's go build out this workflow. On the left-hand side, we're going to go to Automation, Workflows. And then on the top right, we will click the orange button to create a workflow. We're going to do it from scratch since I know what I'm doing here and you guys know what you're doing because we're walking through this together. Whenever you set up a workflow, the first thing you want to think about is your enrollment trigger. So we're doing this based on a meeting being scheduled. So on the left-hand side, we're going to want to go to emails, calls, and communications, and we're going to use meeting events and meeting being booked as our trigger. Now, in theory, you could leave this as is, but this would enroll anytime a meeting gets booked in your HubSpot. So if you're using it for other things like your service team is using it, you're meeting with clients, even internal meetings and things like that might create deals. So it's best to add that additional filter I talked about of the call and meeting type, and then selecting your consultation here. Once we're good here, we'll click done and then click next. And then we'll add another step to this if we want to too. Like say for example, we're booking secondary consultations with people. If a deal has already been created for them, we would probably want to exclude them from having another deal being created. So we're going to add in a condition and we're going to say that we're going to change the filter on deals. We're going to do deal properties, and we're going to look for the property is open. So is open is a numeric field. If the deal is still open, meaning it's still being worked, it will be a 1. If it's closed, either 1 or lost, whatever it is, it will be a 0. So we just want to say is, and we're going to actually do is none of, is not equal to 1. So basically, if it's associated to any deals that are 1, it cannot enroll in this workflow. It's important to mention that this trigger will then say that they have to have a deal that is not 1 in order for them to trigger. So we want to add in an additional filter here to say or contact property, and we want to look for number of associated deals is unknown. So this is a HubSpot calculated property that looks for how many deals your contacts are associated to. So most of the time this will be unknown. There are some edge cases where it might be equal to 0. So I'm actually going to hit this little clone button here to clone this group. And then this time I'm going to change it to is equal to 0. This now will create deals for people who have had closed deals in the past and also people who are having deals created for the first time. So I know it's a little bit complex here, but this is just some experience of the best way to build these workflows out inside of HubSpot. So we'll click next. And this is something that you are going to probably want re-enrollment on for. Again, we have the criteria set. If there's already an open deal for them, it won't create a new one. But if they book with you later on down the road, we will probably want a deal be created for them a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, whatever it may be. And then we'll click save and continue. Awesome. Step 1 done. Our enrollment trigger is set. Next we want to do is create a deal. So we're going to go over here on the left to CRM to create record. And then obviously we're going to select a deal to be created. First thing you can do is choose who you want this to be assigned to. You can choose the existing contact owner. You could choose specific users. You could choose no one if you want to assign it later or assign it to the person who owns the deal. So for this use case, we'll do the deal owner, the contact owner. Entering the deal name, my personal recommendation is to actually change enrolled contact to the company most recently updated and use the company name for the deal. And then maybe add some text, like if you want to add new deal here. And then you're going to want to choose the stage. So this whole use case was around a consultation being scheduled. So we're going to put it into the consultation scheduled deal stage. Now, some best practices for close date and for amount. So it's good if you know your average time to win a deal. So if that's 60 days, 90 days, whatever it may be, that's what you're going to want to set here for your close date. So I recommend doing days after running action and setting it to whatever that time frame is for 90 days. And then for amount, 2 ways you could go here. I recommend either 1, using your minimum amount, or 2, if you know your average 1 deal size, setting it to that. So for this use case, I'll just use $5,000 as an example. The reason why these are important is if you are using HubSpot's forecasting tool, we have to know expected close date and expected amount. These are just estimates on when you think it will close and what you think it will be worth, but otherwise the forecasting tool will not work for any deals that does not have a close date or does not have an amount. Before we move on, you can click to add more properties here, and you have the option to set more deals, more deal properties, or copy more properties from a contact to a deal. So all your contact properties will be here that you can then copy into deal properties, or you can just set another one. Like for example, like if we wanted to do deal type, we'd probably want some if-then branches around this, but if you know it's new or existing, for example, you could set that. Scrolling down here, when you automatically create this deal, the contact who's enrolled in this workflow will automatically also be associated to this deal. And the company that contact is linked to will also automatically be associated to the deal. So you could choose any labels here if you want to. These are labels that we've added. If you want like decision maker labels or things like that, you do need to add those to your portal. Happy to talk you through that too. If you want to ask me questions, again, you can find me in the description. Or same thing for company as well. And then you can also add line items to the deals here if you know them. So most of the time you don't know this stuff because they've just booked with you. You haven't chatted with them yet. And we're just getting the deal created to get it inside of HubSpot so we don't have to manually create them. We'll click save. We're all set from here. Last thing we're going to do is, last couple things is give this workflow a name. So I like to use this naming convention. The purpose is to create deals. The trigger is meetings, consultations, scheduled. It's good to put any sort of like keywords that you would actually search for in these workflows. You know, create deal when consultation scheduled, because they'll show up when you are when you're searching for these workflows. Anything in the name, and then also anything in the description, which we're going to generate here through AI. So obviously, if you have this on in your portal, there's a setting you have to turn on to generate descriptions by AI. You need to build the workflow first before AI can generate the description. Otherwise, I would have nothing to build off of because it does go based off the steps it sees in the flow we just built. So creates a new deal when with details only if there are no open associated deals. Great job by the AI there actually in this use case to pick that up. So we'll click save, and the next thing to do is turn this on. So if we click review and publish, you'll see that the past contacts enrollment trigger is not on. Based on this, we can only enroll future contacts. So nothing to worry about when we turn this on. This is only going to affect meetings that are booked moving forward. We can click next a couple of times here, and then we can turn on our workflow. So just like that, now when consultations are scheduled inside of HubSpot, those meetings are showing up, deals are automatically going to be created for your sales reps. Now they'll be able to spend less time clicking in HubSpot and more time selling. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful. Thanks so much for watching. For more HubSpot tips, tricks, and tutorials, make sure you like and subscribe to HubSpot Hacks. Again, appreciate you watching, and happy HubSpotting.